Hello there. We're on, eh?
You are.
We can't see you yet, but we hear you.
There's some feedback.
Oh, that would be.
Hang on, Josh is gonna check something down.
All right, it's tricky.
We might have a part-time job available for you.
There. Looks like it's working.
We see you, Mike.
I see you, yeah.
How's your recovery?
He can't. You don't have a mic. How's your recovery?
I can barely make you out lately, but I think you just said something.
Yeah. How's your recovery?
Oh, it's doing well. It's doing well, thanks. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I had surgery on Wednesday. Yeah, yeah.
Are we good to go?
I think we're good. Wait, can you just chat a little bit?
Sure. Well, given that it's just past 6, we're hoping we can get going. We're checking audio, engaging in a brave new world of, I don't even know what to call this, digital. I have no idea. Beyond me.
Straight from the pub.
Keep talking.
Keep talking.
Yeah, test the audio.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry. A, B, C, D, E, F.
That's very helpful.
Is it? Je suis Rakia KLMNOP.
Just trying to make sure we've got the best.
I'll keep talking because I'm important this is that it works. Or we just rip it out. US. I'll remind the chair that when we have somebody remote, you have to take a roll call,
Yes.
but you knew that. Right?
Yes. Thank you. Yep. I'll look at you, Josh, to let us know when we're firing on all cylinders.
Okay.
It's, you know,
It's close to
relative to this situation.
that would be good.
I mean, it's showing, it's getting it. It's whether or not, I wonder if Mike can hear us well.
Mike, are you there?
I can, yeah, I am here and I can hear you. But it's, for what it's worth, the audio is choppy every so often that I hear a tick, 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 tick type of thing after someone has spoken.
And you
Yeah.
do have that
I'm
fast,
hearing that too.
right?
And that I didn't get at all.
At the very least, I could just turn on the microphone on the owl itself. Yeah. So talking is really annoying. I think we're good.
We're good?
We're gonna use the owl mic for now.
Okay, great. Okay, well, let's get going, everyone. Welcome to the Lincolnville Selectmen's meeting. It is April 11th, our year 2022. We are meeting remotely this evening. Selectman Ray is beaming in from elsewhere. He's recovering. Our meeting is being broadcast live on cable TV channel 22 and live streamed on the Town of Lincolnville's YouTube channel. And remote participation is available. If you would like to participate next time, if there's a remote meeting next time, reach out to us at the town office. Jordan, would you carry the quote of the evening?
Sure. We're supposed to be perfect our first day on the job and then show constant improvement. Ed of article.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to open the podium for any non-agenda items. Seeing nobody rushing up to the podium, let's move along to the administrator's report.
Couple of quick updates. The Equus rainstorm on Friday, which caused us a few minor inconveniences along the roadside. Had a good helpful hand from Rick Osgood and crew in terms of some immediate things we could do in the storm, and then we had to wait for water to subside, but the water did subside. We've been out working diligently today. We still have more repairs to do, but the worst of it is in hand or behind us. And if you see something, if you're up there in TV land or remote land, if you see something that's towards the latter part of the week that isn't repaired, or doesn't have a cone by it or something like that, feel free to give us a call. We'll make sure that it is to the list. The only other thing I have besides the agenda are nomination papers are still available here at the town office for Board of Selectmen, Budget Committee, School Committee, 5-Town CSD, various terms, various lengths. They have to be returned by close of business Friday, so by 4:30 at Friday, with at least 25 signatures and no more than 100.
Any questions for David on the administrator's report? All right, let's move along to upcoming meetings and announcements.
The Conservation Commission is scheduled to meet Thursday, April 14th, 4 p.m. at the town office. A meeting that's not listed on the agenda is the Budget Committee is also scheduled to meet Thursday, April 14th at 6 p.m. here at the town office. Comprehensive Plan Review Committee, Wednesday, April 20th, 7 p.m. Broadband Committee, Thursday, April 21st, 6 p.m. And the Board of Selectmen meet next on Monday, April 25th at 6 p.m.
Thank you all very much. Are there any upcoming community events anyone wishes to share? Seeing none, let's move along. We have meeting minutes from March 28th. And as David reminded us, any action will be taken via roll call. So I will entertain a motion.
I move the board approve the March 28, 2022 meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Moved by Selectman Lake, seconded by Selectman Barnett Parker. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Selectman Lake, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Garrettson, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Ray, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Barnett Parker, what's your vote?
Yes.
And Selectman Dunn, my vote is yes, the motion passes. Thank you all very much. And moving along, we have a liquor license renewal application from the Cellar Door Winery. And as this is a renewal, I'm guessing we didn't invite.
I sent the owner an email Thursday before I departed.
Okay.
I didn't see anything back, positive or negative.
Okay.
It was 5 minutes after you.
I know, she really does make an effort to either come or send a representative. But I will entertain a motion if no one has any objection.
I move the board approve and sign the liquor license application submitted by Cellar Door Winery Incorporated.
Second.
Moved by Selectman Lake, seconded by Selectman Barnett Parker. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Selectman Lake, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Garrettson, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Ray, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Barnett Parker, what's your vote?
Yes.
And Selectman Dunn, my vote is yes, motion passes. Thank you all. And moving along, we have an interesting program here from Maine DOT and their partnership program. David, would you care to talk about this at all?
If Selectman Ray doesn't want to, I'd be happy to.
Go ahead, Dave.
So MDOT sent us a note back at the early part of March indicating the 4 partnership initiatives they have underway or will be starting, namely the Village Partnership Initiative, the Planning Partnership Initiative, Business Partnership Initiative, and Municipal Partnership Initiative. And in conjunction with the Maine Municipal Association last week, they put on a webinar to explain the programs, and Selectman Ray and I independently, separately tuned in. I think we both came away with the thought that perhaps this, particularly the Village Planning Initiative, might be something that would be of interest to the board for Lincolnville Center. And based on what we had past conversations about, and the primary recommendation that came out of the webinar was, if you thought this was of interest, contact your regional planner, have them come to a meeting in your community so they can explain it in depth, what's involved in both in terms of finances and program. And it is something that they're looking to have be an ongoing program. So it's not something that they're going to do one round of grants and then disappear. They're in hopes that this is something that will be a true partnership between MDOT and the various communities to try to make improvements transportation wise, not only to roads, but traffic calming and bicycle friendly and pedestrian friendly. And they want to tailor this to your community versus saying, here's kind of the one size fits all. And apparently, based on what they said, they have some flexibility in terms of design. Obviously, you'd have to meet ADA requirements and that type of thing, but in terms of shoulder treatments or shoulder widths and lane widths and sidewalk things, there's some flexibility. And I'm probably not the best representative of that program or initiative, but if the board wants, we could invite Steve Cole or Dale Bowdy or somebody else down, and they explain to you in depth what the program can mean for the community.
Mike, do you have anything you want to add?
Oh, I can't think of anything except to say that it is, like David said, it's a long-term investment, a program that sounds like it's a long-term investment program. DOT wants to hold our hands through, hold the hands of municipalities through. And even though they say they have $5 million, that $5 million is not just going to be used up with every $800,000 project. So therefore it only does 4 towns. They're looking at $5 million spread out of 10% of matching funds, the rest of it being federal, and then 10% probably from the towns. But it looks like a good deal in the sense it's worth talking with the folks. And they did mention it is competitive. So the sooner we start talking, the better off we may be.
Great, thank you. Questions from the board? I'll entertain a motion. We have a recommended one here in front of us.
I move that the board instruct the town administrator to make contact with the Maine DOT regional planner and request that Maine DOT attend a future meeting of the board to discuss the various Maine DOT partnership initiatives and opportunities.
Second.
Moved by Selectman Barnett Parker, seconded by Selectman Garrettson. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion. Selectman Lane, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Garrettson, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Ray, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Barnett Parker, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Dunn, my vote is yes. Motion passes. Thank you, David, for getting that ball rolling. And Selectman Ray. And unfortunately, we do have a resignation in front of us, and so I will entertain a motion.
I move that the board accept with regret the resignation of Dorothy Lampier from the Recreation Commission. Second.
Moved by Selectman Barnett Parker, seconded by Selectman Lake. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Selectman Lake, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Garrettson, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Ray, what's your vote?
Yes,
Selectman Barnett Parker, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Dunn, my vote, yes, the motion passes. And moving rapidly along, do we have a broadband update?
Well, we had a meeting the last week, so that was the first time a committee or board in Lincolnville did a hybrid meeting, and I think it went very well. Mark Roulette from Action could not attend, so we spent the time just talking about a variety of documents that he had sent to the committee, detailing technology and just the current state of where he's at. Jordan, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, just that it was kind of general discussion about how to move forward, what to focus on next, trying to drum up support from the community and activity and get some speed tests out there and yeah, just be ready for our next meeting with the consultants.
Super, all right, thank you. Well, congratulations on pioneering the launch
Thank you.
Yeah.
of the.
And it was the
hybrid.
first meeting where we had everyone who was on the committee actually present at the meeting in one way or another, so that was really nice.
Oh, and one more thing. So the committee had recommended to the Board of Selectmen that we put a link on the homepage of the Lincolnville site saying take a speed test.
Oh,
And so this, unlike our last survey, which I think was like 2 years ago now, people were self-reporting their speed. This one goes into the main broadband coalition's system where they take a speed test and it automatically gets recorded and becomes part of the statewide map showing different speeds in Lincolnville and then around the state. And so the committee was asking for permission from the board if they were amenable to including a link on the homepage.
you look like you have something to say.
Well, as you said that, it's a statewide test, but will we be able to draw a report from that
Yes,
as we go forward?
yeah,
From
anytime.
for our region specifically?
Yes, any town can put in their town or city and say, show me the map. And then
Perfect.
you have that map with all the speeds.
Very neat.
Yeah.
Town Administrator David, how challenging is it to do that?
very simple.
Is it?
I am certain that somebody from the committee can send me something, and we can post that with all due municipal speed.
Would you be satisfied with a general nodding of heads in agreement that
Yeah.
that's a good idea? Selectman Ray
yeah, yeah.
is nodding his head also in concurrence, so, great idea, good suggestion, thank you. All right, moving along, David, would you care to give us a brief update on this ARPA, conflict of interest policy?
Sure. You have, where by the terms and conditions that the board agreed to or agreed for me to sign, we're supposed to maintain a conflict of interest policy consistent with the Congressional Federal Register. You have the sections. So you have a draft policy, basically says you can't hire yourself, can't, give it to your friends and neighbors without doing the right things. And it's what, I believe it's what we do with all the other things that we do here in town, but we then can hit the checkbox and say we have it when somebody audits us and says, where's your policy?
Questions for David? I'll entertain a motion then.
Move the board adopt the conflict of interest policy for local fiscal recovery fund.
Second.
Moved by Selectman Lake, seconded by Selectman Barnett Parker. Is there discussion? Seeing no discussion, Selectman Lake, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Garrettson, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Ray, what's your vote?
Yes,
Selectman Barnett Parker, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Dunn, my vote is yes, the motion passes. Thank you all very much. And it is definitely that time of year where we have our election clerks and the need to reappoint them or appoint them.
Point that, 'cause
Appoint.
summer.
Yes. And so you have those lists in front of you, and if there are no questions, I will entertain a motion.
I move that the board appoint for 2-year terms all of the election clerks provided to us on the list dated April 6th, 2022.
Second.
Moved by Selectman Barnett Parker, seconded by Selectman Late. Is there discussion? No discussion. Selectman Late, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Garrettson, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Ray, what's your vote?
Yes,
Selectman Barnett Parker, what's your vote?
Yes.
And Selectman Dunn, my vote is yes. Thank you all very much. And we have CMP doing some maintenance to, or an addition of a utility pole, is that right,
Yeah,
David?
there's a new, I believe it's a new residence going in on the Youngtown Road, so they have to put a pole between 2 existing poles so they can run the service to the new location.
Oh, fun, okay. Great, any questions there? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion, please.
Move the board approve and sign the location permit CMP work order number 801-000-453-625 for a new pole to be located adjacent to Youngtown Road.
Second.
Moved by Selectman Late, seconded by Selectman Garrettson, is there discussion? See no discussion, Selectman Late, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Garrettson, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Ray, what's your vote?
yes,
Selectman Barnett Parker, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Dunn, my vote is yes, the motion passes. Thank you all very much.
I would just like to note for the record that both the tree people and Conservation Commission looked at the location, and as did the Public Facilities Director, and both said they didn't have any problem with the location.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And before us, we have consideration of the town meeting warrant. And in your packet, you'll see you have the advice from our town attorney regarding considering advancing a non-binding article to the voters of Lincolnville. David, do you want to add anything?
Just standard practice for us to send town meeting warrants to the town attorney to review and make sure we're doing things appropriately and in compliance with the law. She reviewed it, had the comments you have there about the non-binding question, which is certainly a permissible question. Just may not be her ideal practice. So you have to make a decision whether or not you wish to continue with that on the warrant, and then it should be ready for your approval.
So really here, it's 2 roads diverge in a yellow wood, and we have to choose which path to go down. So thoughts from the board? Yeah, Josh.
Well, I appreciate what Sally said. What she wrote is unsurprising to me, that it's not a common practice to have a non-binding question on the town meeting warrant. So I am comfortable continuing to include the Article 30.
All right,
Yeah, unless we want to just table and put it on the actual ballot in November, I'm fine with moving forward as we discussed.
thoughts, Mike?
yeah, like Josh and Jordan, I couldn't hear all of what you said, but I'm very comfortable with putting it on as it is, as she suggested. I'm not worried about sliding down a slippery slope myself. I think we can give it the consideration that it's due when it comes out, and we'll see what the numbers say, and we'll see how to continue that discussion if that's what the voters want to do.
All right, fair enough.
My opinion remains the same as it's always been. I think it's ridiculous to have term limits, and I feel the voters take care of that themselves when they vote the polls.
All righty. Yep. All right, well, does someone care to make a motion, please?
Can I actually bring something up?
Sure.
Before anyone makes a motion?
Yeah.
It's a clarification on the budget. When we voted to recommend the budget we have before us, I was under the impression we were not spending ARPA funds, 117 on $1,000 to reduce property taxes. Is that correct, or are we actually spending the entire first tranche of the ARPA funds?
Budget approved by the board recommended expending 117,550, which is in essence the first payment of ARPA funds.
So I didn't realize that. And I don't support that. In our previous meeting, I, speaking for myself, thought that the expenditure of ARPA funds, that discussion should come after the budget. So pass the budget and then have a community-wide conversation on how to spend that first tranche. So I'm not sure where we go from here, because
It's also a slightly different conversation than the one that is at hand. I mean, yes, it's relevant to the warrant articles, but
Well, there's a specific warrant article that addresses that. Article 18.
can everyone speak up a little
Sorry.
more, just because that's currently our microphone,
Oh,
just
okay.
so I can hear
All
us.
right, so this. So yeah, just, yeah, and I thought maybe this would be the time to discuss that too, since I think the motion would be to accept the warrant, all of the warrants as they're written, and specifically Article 18 does address the
sure.
ARPA funds. And I will admit as well that I didn't realize at the time that we were using that. I thought that was a different discussion. And I'm not sure under what guise we would be using the ARPA funds. Would that be for some sort of revenue loss that we're using that? Because I thought that just using it straight out for property tax relief wasn't something that was under the guidelines.
It's not. It's
for the, like I said, revenue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's clearly identified in Article 18 as replacement for lost public sector revenue, which is certainly allowable for government services, as well as in the budget, there were a number of items identified that well exceeded 117,550. But yeah, $550 that were American Rescue Plan Act eligible. Certainly, if you don't want to use that money for that, you can strike that article, or this clearly puts it in the hands of the voters to have the discussion as to whether or not they wish to. If they vote no on this article and they've approved the budget up above, it means that they'll be spending an additional $117,550 out of property taxes, or they can go back and revisit something and change something they've done.
I guess I didn't, yeah, so it's actually pretty neat and tidy, it's just Article 18.
Article 18 is the only authorization the voters would use specifically with regards to American Rescue Plan.
I just, did both of you, when we passed the budget, did both of you understand we were committing to spending the first tranche of the 117,000?
Well, in the discussion of how to lower the overage or the increase that we were looking at, yeah.
Okay.
But not that we were spending it. The discussion we had been having is to not spend them on individual little projects throughout, but to address the increase that we were looking at with those funds. It's a more straightforward, transparent way of putting it in front of voters, rather than piecemeal deduction, I guess, is what I would say.
Okay.
So I guess to that end, I mean, I feel very comfortable. I feel as comfortable, if not more comfortable, putting that article in front of the voters to discuss on the floor as, having term limits, it's, I feel like it's something that the people who serve to benefit from passing that along can either say yes to, or no, we'd rather pay out of pocket in taxes.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
that's my thoughts. Mike, do you have your hand up?
I do, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It looks like a large hand on the wall, right? Yeah. Yeah, what I was gonna say is that the board received all of the requests for ARPA funds already to date. And we had the option for revenue replacement, which is how I understand it's gone in, or it will be proposed to be spent as revenue replacement, the full 117, bypassing that weird formula. And because we did not get any other requests in, I don't see a reason to go back and review those requests now. There's confusion. I was confused. And I'm ashamed to say that I was, because I like to think that I understand how things are working, but obviously that passed me by. But it seems to me that it was one of those situations that's come and gone.
It hasn't completely gone, obviously, because you folks can all have the discussion and debate. But if you look on, I think it was page 26, the last page of the budget,
Right.
under budget revenues and offsets.
Yeah.
It
It's there.
that's where it was.
Yeah.
And hence the article, because that's what I thought your desires were, to continue to utilize that. And if you have something different, you have to change it here, and we ought to know by Thursday, because that's when the budget committee is making their recommendations on expenses, and they had a presentation of your budget 2 Thursdays ago. So they'll want to put that into their thought process as well.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, thanks. I've got another question. This is for David. Something that confuses me, David, is does our town charter require that the voters approve us accepting that money prior to us spending that money?
No.
Okay.
I have to go back and find the actual transmittal from the town attorney on the question. We have the ability, certainly the board has the ability to accept the money.
Yes.
The expenditure of the money, the town attorney's opinion was that you actually, by a previous article approved at town meeting, had the authority to expend it. The recommendation was it may be best suited to ask town meeting for it, so people have a chance to contribute as to whether or not they think it's a good idea or bad to use it.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else there? I hear you from your perspective, but yeah. As David said, we went over that page 26.
It's there.
A few times, yeah.
It's there.
But it's, I can appreciate how it's a little forest for the trees. At that point, there's a lot of information there.
Yeah. And I saw the line, and I'm embarrassed to say too, that I saw the line, and at the time, I didn't quite click. I thought we had reduced property taxes from including to real estate sales, as well as the updated formula for estate revenue sharing.
Yeah. Okay.
But one could make a motion, I'm not doing it right now, I'm just saying hypothetically, one could make a motion to pass what's in front of us minus Article 18. So we could do that right now.
Mm-hmm. But the voters could also do it on the floor.
Absolutely.
When we're going through it line by line.
Yeah.
So the real question is, much like the question is for term limits, is it more important to put forward before the voters a non-binding agreement or basically poll regarding term limits, and yet censor the voters' ability to reduce their property taxes?
It's a very fair.
It doesn't pass the straight face test for me, but You could make that motion for sure.
I guess I don't know how the two things are related. I mean, one is getting an opinion and the other is using a bulk sum of money that wasn't expected and it's a one-time thing.
You're asking the voters to vote on that. You're asking the legislative body that is there to decide on the budget, whether they want to spend those funds in that way. Or making the decision for them.
I mean, I'm not trying to get the motion in to get this off of the article, just, I guess, it makes me a little uncomfortable, also the wording of it. We kind of put ourselves in a hole with the way we're budgeting, and then we have this boon of money that's coming in one time, and we're kind of glossing over it and making it seem like that's not the situation that we're in, and that's what makes it uncomfortable to me. But move forward and see if they want to use this money, because, yeah, that's fine.
Well, we're using it for what it was sent for. Okay, and the past budgets have were indicative of the times and what we felt, not you, but previous selectmen, what we felt was the right thing for the town. This money right here is encompassing stuff that was put off. It's gonna pay for it. It's also gonna help us step forward. I don't see the argument.
Not an argument.
I just don't see it. And it's just one person's opinion. But I just don't see, you can point fingers at previous board members all you want. But today is today, and this is what we've got. And we need to look to the future. And we don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but we can't put anything off. And the way the budget looked before we used what this money was designed for. Couldn't look a taxpayer in the eye.
I'm of the opinion that we put together a very well thought out, considerate and transparent budget that allows the legislative body that shows up to vote on the 14th and the 16th to be able to do so clearly and with options. And so, there's really no point in getting into any sort of back and forth of the psychology of previous boards or current boards. And so I would like a motion to be made, please.
I move that the board approve and sign the June 14, 16, 2022 annual meeting warrant, and that the warrant be posted, including the recommendations of the budget committee.
Second.
Moved by Selectman Garrettson, seconded by Selectman Late. Is there further discussion?
So I'm supporting putting the question before the voters if they want to expend the first tranche of the ARPA funds. It's been a hard year. We have a lot of things to fund. I am going to strongly advocate for the second tranche when we get that. Have we gotten that yet?
We have not received that yet.
When we get that, to not do the same thing next year and to consider programs for that, but for this first tranche. We voted on it and people are struggling, and so this time, I think putting it before the voters makes sense.
Okay. Any more discussion? Seeing none. Selectman Late, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Garrettson, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Ray, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Barnett Parker, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Dunn, my vote is yes, the motion passes. Thank you. And David, would you care to speak at all about the 5-town CSD warrant and notice of election?
You had in your packet the 5-town CSD budget, district budget meeting warrant, which you don't have to approve or do anything with. It's more for your knowledge and of what's occurring, but for voters out there on Tuesday, May 17th at 7 p.m. at the Camden Hills Regional High School, the 5-town CSD, which is our high school, will hold their budget meeting as set forth by their 5-town community school district. We'll post that soon on the website. And their total expenditures for the high school, they're somewhere on this page, I thought. Big chunk, good chunk of money. $13,231,050.54. You're welcome to, obviously, any voter is welcome to attend the meeting on the 17th and speak their piece, high school. You also have in your packet that does require your approval is the district budget validation referendum warrant and notice of election. What that does is, excuse me, on Tuesday, June 14th, voters that participate on election day will receive a ballot which has 2 questions from the 5-town CSD. One, do you want to approve the budget that was done at the meeting on the 17th? And the second question is, do you wish to continue with this process for another 3 years? The dual meeting, a meeting and then a validation referendum. You don't, as a board of selectmen, don't have a real lot of, you don't have any say in it. It's more of a ministerial act to countersign this warrant to call their election, but that's the process.
Any follow-up questions for David? All right, I will entertain a motion, please.
I move that the board approve and countersign the warrant and notice of election calling 5-town community school district budget validation referendum to be conducted on June 14th, 2022.
Second.
Moved by Selectman Garrettson, seconded by Selectman Lake. Is there discussion? Being no discussion, Selectman Lake, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Garrettson, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Ray, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Barnett Parker, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Dunn, my vote is yes, the motion passes. Thank you all very much. Moving along to agenda item number 15. Selectman Lake, do you have an update for us?
At this point, I don't have anything to say.
Mark this in history.
Yes.
Selectman Garrettson, do you have an update for us beyond?
I have nothing else for you.
Okay. Selectman Ray, do you have an update for us?
I don't have anything either.
All right, Selectman Barnett Parker, anything?
No updates.
And same here, no updates. So we will move along to treasurer and payroll warrants, which we need to approve and sign.
I move the board approve the treasurer's and payroll warrants.
Second.
Ooh, well seconded. Moved by Selectman Lake, seconded by Selectman Garrison. I heard you louder. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Selectman Lake, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Garrettson, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Ray, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Barnett Parker, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Dunn, my vote is yes. And before our final piece of business, which is adjournment, we do need to enter into executive session regarding possible disposition of real property. And so will someone make a motion? Have a good evening.
I move the board enter into executive session pursuant to Title I MRSA Section 4056C to discuss the possible disposition of real estate, of real property where premature disclosure of the information would prejudice the competitive bargaining position of the town.
Moved by Selectman Lake, seconded by Selectman Barnett Parker. Is there discussion? Seeing no discussion, Selectman Lake, what's your vote?
Yes.
Selectman Garrettson,
Yes.
Selectman Ray,
Yes.
Selectman Barnett Parker,
Yes.
Selectman Dunn, vote is yes, motion passes. We are now.
I just realized.
What's that?
We just have to find the technical way to include Mike
Yeah.
and make it secure.
So, we're gonna figure